Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for June 14th, 2023 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my far left is Skip Sweeney and Ashley Garkar. I'm Ivan Valentik. To my right is Davey Rowan and Todd Goling, and to our far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of our legal counsel, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. If you plan on speaking, please stand at this moment and raise your right hand. All right. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case, come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and please confirm that you've been sworn in. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes.
Thank you. We have one item for old business variance appeal and one new item tonight for a variance appeal. A three-vote majority is required to either approve or deny that appeal. If the request is denied, you have the right to file an appeal. Okay, first we're going to start with our old business, which is variance appeal application 2023-124. Kimberly Perry and James Perry are requesting the following for the property located at 11190 Spear Road, current parcel number 08-A-018-A-00-049-0. First would be a variance from section 15.03A6, table 15.03-1 to allow for more than one accessory building on a lot less than 2 acres. And there's two other administrative appeals that you are no longer requesting, and we could come up and present your case.
Jim Perry, 11190 Spear Road. I was sworn in.
And Mr. Perry, just to confirm for the record, you no longer are requesting administrative appeal from the zoning inspector's decision for the accessory buildings, the chicken coop, and you are not requesting the administrative appeal on the zoning inspector's violation letter for the, what was this other one for?
The greenhouse?
The greenhouse, yes.
Yeah, I plan to remove them.
Okay, perfect.
And I just asked that I have a little bit of time to do that.
Okay.
So I'm just requesting to have the one additional accessory building, which is the existing shed. And Heather came over a week and a half ago, I think, or so, and we measured the setbacks on my buildings, and everything seems to be in order.
Okay. Great. Yeah, if you want to present your case for the accessory building, we're happy to listen and ask questions.
Okay, yeah, we need the extra space for storage because we don't have a basement or an attic. We just had our attic re-insulated, and it doesn't allow for storage anymore. And I guess another thing, in the near future, we plan on building an attached garage and removing the old detached garage. So we should go back at some point to just the one accessory building.
And so you don't have a timeline for that?
Not exactly. I'd like to get it done this year, but since it's so far in the summer now, I don't know if I can get a framing crew to get set up for that.
And what's being stored in the two buildings?
Cars in the garage and just lawn equipment and stuff in 12 by 16.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the existing detached garage, that one is already, like that one, was that grandfathered in, or was it, did we need?
I had a shed that was grandfathered in that I've since removed.
Gotcha.
To keep the new one.
Right.
The newer shed, I should
So
say.
really we're just, so now we're just saying, so the variance is just for the new shed.
Right.
That's existing.
And I put in the wording to
Right.
not more than one accessory building, just one additional accessory building. Just for clarity on, I know I can't have 4 because it says.
Yeah, and I think I'm just trying to make sure that the existing garage is already approved, and that, or are we approved? I guess I'm trying to understand which one is already considered the approved building, and if there's.
Building 1, the detached garage, right?
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so that one's approved. We're just doing the variance for the shed. Okay.
Yep.
Heather, when you went
and checked his property. The second shed in question, the original grandfathered in shed, that is gone,
It
correct?
is gone.
It
right.
is gone.
It was removed off the property and then further removed off the neighbor's property, and it is gone.
Gone,
Yes,
okay.
yes, it
So
is
there
no
is
longer there.
currently, when you looked, a chicken coop and a greenhouse, of which requesting October 1st removal.
Right, right.
And then there's currently a detached garage and the new shed.
Correct. The newer, the 12 by 16 shed.
Okay.
Yes.
Todd, any questions?
What's your timeline for the, you said you're having trouble getting a framing crew?
Well, I can't really tell anybody or ask anybody when you're available until I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, before the end of the year or next spring for sure.
So the ultimate goal is get rid of the detached,
Right,
then it won't be an issue anymore.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? for
Are
the
we
applicant?
allowed to discuss the potential of a temporary approval, since there's the potential of a attached garage, and only approve of 2 buildings for like a year, and then reevaluate the situation in a year if there's a garage or not?
I think we could put any stipulations at the board. I think that could be in discussion for the board if we want to put any stipulations on the approval.
I would just recommend that if you're going to do that, you make sure that the applicant can agree to that.
Yeah. Do you have anything, Skip?
So I think to piggyback off that, so it sounds like if we go through the process, we would be voting to approve the shed. And then at some point, or the accessory building shed, at some point in the future, you would get an attached garage. There would be a process for that, but then I don't think we would necessarily need to approve that unless there was a variance needed for that. Does that sound right?
Right,
to
we
everybody?
measured the setbacks on that when Heather was over, and there's plenty of room for what
So I think it
we're in
might,
need of.
we might not need to worry about that piece, since that would be a separate process in the future. And it may not happen. We don't know. I mean, probably will, but nothing's.
Right, who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, I could sell the place in 6
Right.
months, right, if I wanted to, so it's not a set in
So,
stone thing.
again, just for something we can talk about.
Hey, Heather, question I have for you though, if he does an attached garage,
Yes.
because I'm not knowing the property, is it possible to do an attached garage with the detached garage, or the location, does the detached garage have to, I'm just more concerned about getting the variance for extra space, yet still adding on, so
Oh,
not necessarily needing the 2 buildings in the future when it goes up.
Yeah, the detached garage is in a state where it really needs to be fixed or replaced,
Okay,
which is why we're doing this.
okay.
It's got a tarp on the roof and everything, and I just.
So is it possible to build
The
an
new-
attached garage without taking down the detached one?
The current detached garage would be right in front of the garage doors for the new one, so
Okay.
it would really,
So it has to come down
it
with
pretty
the
much has
attached
to
one,
come
okay.
down,
Yeah, I
yeah.
would agree. It'd be very difficult to keep the
Okay.
detached and build the attached. They're right near each other here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
How many years have you lived on this property?
My wife's parents bought it in 66 or so, and then my wife bought it right before we got married from her mother. So family's been on the property since then.
So
We've owned the-
66. Was the highway there then?
Oh, yeah,
Was it there as far back as 66?
yeah. It's the last, there's another house next, one more house, but the freeway comes at an angle, so as you get down the street, the freeway gets closer.
Yeah.
Which is a problem now because they concreted that, which made it like 4 times louder. So the back of the property on our patio, we didn't go back there anymore because it's just,
The highway's cut in 1955, I think.
yeah, that sounds
Why
about
am I
right.
thinking it was like
They
I
should
looked it up. I
69,
had the same
70? Wow.
44 maybe, right? Was 44 made a highway later? I'm not sure.
Old 44.
New 44 is newer than 90, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe what you're thinking of. 44 was put in the 60.
Okay,
That it?
I think you can be seated. Is there anyone else here this evening that's speaking for this appeal? That'd like to come up? Or anyone that would like to speak against the appeal that'd like to come up? there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance application number 2023-124 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2023-124?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, discussion from the board? Any concerns? Do we want to talk about the Duncan
That's what I
factors?
was looking for.
Dave, you want to run us through that? If you got that handy? I got it. I could do it. I don't know if you guys want to just, if anyone from the board wants to chime in, will the property yield a reasonable return, or can there be a beneficial use of the property without the variance?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
suppose.
Is the variance substantial?
No.
I don't think
I don't
it
think
is.
so. Will the essential character of the neighborhood be substantially altered, or will adjoining property suffer a substantial detriment if the variance is granted?
No.
No,
No, I don't think so either. Will the variance adversely affect the delivery of government services?
no.
Did the property owner purchase the property with the knowledge of the zoning restrictions?
Well, it's a legacy building, so it was there before a lot of the zoning was enacted.
Yeah. Can the problem be resolved by some manner other than granting the variance? Yeah, I guess yes, if he attached the garage, but he's gonna do that at some point, right? Will the variance preserve the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution? Will substantial justice be done by granting the variance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess one question would be, do we need to amend your motion to include the timeline for removing the two existing accessory buildings to October 1st?
I don't think that's a zoning appeals issue, the greenhouse and the chicken coop, correct?
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that you add that as a condition on the approval of the variance.
Okay,
As per the applicant has stated, he would wish that you would grant him till October 1st,
First.
2023,
okay.
to remove the greenhouse and the chicken coop
And the chicken coop as part of this variance
as
approval.
a condition of approving the variance to have the second accessory building.
Okay.
So do we need to make a motion to amend?
Yeah, at some point, is when
Okay.
we're done with the discussion.
Okay.
Is there any other? I think when we have these detached garages, I think they're not that as common. You know, we run into this issue where we have two structures too. So, I mean, I'm in favor.
No, I think, I agree. I think the fact that he's planning on attaching the garage, again, we're speculating into the future, so as of right now it's detached. Obviously removing those other two structures by October, I think that obviously is the applicant working with the board and with zoning, so I think we all appreciate that. So I'm definitely for this.
And just to confirm, Ms. Berry, you're okay with us adding that condition that those two other structures need to be removed by October? Okay. So, the motion would be to approve variance from section 15.03A6, table 15.031, to allow for more than one accessory building on a lot less than 2 acres, with the condition that the chicken coop and the greenhouse are removed by October 1st, 2023.
I think, Mr. Chairman, also adding that it is not more than one accessory building, it is singularly one additional, not more than one.
Okay,
So that way there's not
yes,
2 and 3, 4 additionals.
perfect, thank you.
So moved?
I think we already had a motion, so I think we just need to call the vote, correct? Or do we need a new motion?
I don't think it would hurt to just do a new motion.
Okay.
And include the stipulations that you were discussing.
Okay, can I get a new motion with the stipulations we just discussed?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. The question is on approval of variance number 2023-124 with the stipulations. A yes vote is for the approval of the variance, a no vote denies the variance. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Goley,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Ms. Garfar,
Yes.
Mr. Valenti.
Yes, the motion is passed. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is new business. It's variance application 2023-130. Jeffrey and Gina Snyder are requesting a variance from section 15.03A6 to allow 2 accessory buildings on the property in lieu of the maximum 1 permitted for the property located at 11321 Girdled Road, permanent parcel number 08-A-021-00-012-0. Please come on up. Your name, your address, and confirm you've been sworn in, sir.
I got you. My name is Jeffrey Carlson Snyder. I live at 11321 Girdled Road, Girdled, and I'm joined tonight by my wife, Gina Marie Snyder, who also owns the property, and our adjoining neighbor to the west, Mary Lockwood.
And you've been sworn in, sir?
I'm sorry?
You've been sworn in?
I have.
Thank you. Do you want to go ahead and present your case?
I wrote a statement, if I could read it.
Sure.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for attending this variance request meeting. Again, my name is Jeff Snyder, and I'm joined by my wife. We've been living at the address, the 11321 Girdle Road address, since 1997. We have been residents of Concord Township since 1997. Prior to that, we became a resident when my family moved to Concord in 1976, so I'm a long-time person. Needless to say, we have witnessed decades of growth in the community. I'd like to introduce today Mary Lockwood, who is our adjoining neighbor to the westerly property line. She shares my westerly property line. She volunteered to come to this meeting in support of our request for a variance, and I'd like to make it known that she would be one of the most impacted people if the variance was granted. So visually, she looks out her windows and it's right there, the property is. I also believe she could vouch for our character as neighbors, and that we take efforts to work with our neighbors to ensure that our projects also benefit their lives and properties. To begin, I want to make sure everybody got a packet. Did they all get a packet
Yes.
of the map? Okay, perfect. All right. The reason we're here is because we're in violation of the ordinance 15.03, section A, subsection 6, which states lots less than 2 acres are limited to 1 accessory building. We're in violation of that. To give you a little high-level review of why we're in violation of that. Prior to 2018, our property consisted of 1.59 acres. That's how we bought the property. And it had a single wood frame house built in the 1940s, and it had a single accessory building garage, a 24 by 32 wood frame structure garage with asphalt shingles. And that was built right around 1997. We don't know the exact date, but that's how the county records it. In 2018, we moved our horses to the property because the barn that we were at, we lost the ability to keep them there, so we moved them. And we used that detached accessory building as a stable to house the horses and to store their supplies. We didn't need a lot of space for it, because at that time what we were doing was we were actually using Sidley's. We were buying our materials from Sidley's, the hay and the bedding and that. And so we would buy it in small pieces and be able to store on site. And then we used his property to store the 400 plus bales of hay we needed, and 200 bales of bedding. When Mr. Sidley, as he moved into retirement, then as he aged, he moved away from horses, ergo his facility stopped producing hay. We lost our storage. So we knew about this in advance. We had spoke with him, and I said, you know what we'll do? We'll contact our adjoining neighbor, Mary, thank you for coming, and see if she would be willing to sell us a portion of her wooded lot to increase our property size to in excess of 2 acres, so that we wouldn't have this problem. We would meet the variance. And she agreed. We spoke about it. She was enthusiastic. She said, I want the horses to be closer anyway, so it'll move the fences over. It was a good thing. We contacted a surveyor. I had used a surveyor before. It was Jones Surveying, and they had done my original lot when I originally put the fences in for the pastures. And I contacted them again. What I didn't realize was in the interim, they had sold Jones Surveying to another owner, and the other owner's a younger guy. And I told him what I wanted. I said, hey, we got to be in excess of 2 acres. We're going to peel a piece off her yard, whatever it takes. I don't want to minimize her lot, but I would like to have enough to do this. And he said, no problem. I'm a professional surveyor, a professional engineer. And he went to it. And I didn't hear really again from him for several weeks. And he came back with a plat. And the plat, and you have a copy of it, gave us a total of 2.012 acres. That's exactly what I had hoped for. What I didn't realize and what nobody told me was 0.023 acres was in the right-of-way of Orchard Road. So a small sliver, her property doesn't go to the right-of-way, it extends to the center line of the road. So I had inadvertently bought some right-of-way. I didn't think it was a big deal because I was still over 2 acres. I came to apply for the zoning permit, and that's when they showed me that there's a subsection in there, thank you, Heather did that, and showed me that we actually, right-of-way property, when it happens like that, is not considered buildable property because you're not going to build in the middle of a road. And when you subtract the 2.012 acres minus the 0.023 acres, I end up with 1.989 acres. And I paid top dollar for everybody, including, and now, I mean, I'm saying this just because of the character, I wanted other people, I didn't want to impose on, so I even paid the grantor grantee fees for the filing so that she would maximize her. I'm getting angry about this. And I'm not really angry. It's not true anger. It's just like, I can't believe a cut in this net. So I even paid the grantor grantee title filing fees, trying to make everybody in the event happy. So that's what necessitated the request for a variance. I am 11/100ths of an acre shy of meeting the 2 acre thing. And I'm sure I could probably buy an acre. All my neighbors have volunteered to do that to me. It'd be pennies. It'd be $1,000 probably. But the filing fees, the survey fees and that, it's going to push it right around $7,000 to $8,000, which is what it would actually cost me for all the material for the building, because we got the estimate from the lumber company of what it would cost. And I thought, we'll see if we can try a variance and if it would be something that could be considered. And that is what's going on with the property. And that's why I'm here. Does it make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions on this side?
Yes. In your letter, you wrote to us. In the letter, you wrote to us.
Yes.
A couple different numbers and statements I just want to clarify. You stated you purchased it, and it is 0.011 when you take off the right-of-ways. Short.
Yeah.
But there is a dilemma in the way the filing happened with the county that it is recorded as 0.023 short. So are we 0.011 or are we 0.023?
We're actually the land itself that's in the right of way is 0.23, but if you take 2.012 and I need 2 acres and you subtract 0.023, that's where the 0.011 acre, 1100s comes from.
Okay.
So I'm really just
Okay.
a sliver, not 2.3. It's
Right. Then in your letter, you stated that you were working with the county recorder to get it recorded correctly, that something was
Originally-
recorded incorrectly. Is that still the
Originally,
case?
and I didn't want to go into the story because I started to bash and I didn't want to do that. The original survey that he gave me was the one you have. That's the one that's recorded. That's what the county has. During that, I went back and I said, we want to make a change to this. We didn't like the shape. It's almost perfect L. It's 17 feet by 50 feet. We wanted the 17 foot to wedge a little bit. We're trying to get a little more. And he went back out and surveyed. He redid the survey, actually pinned it out to do that. And then when they recorded it, the county had a copy of both versions of the survey. And the one that they didn't take, which I actually is the one I paid for it, that one's only off by 0.009. So it's even would have been even closer. It was 80 cubic feet or square feet. And somehow the county, and I'm not attacking the county or the town or the surveyor, somehow they recorded the incorrect one. And I'm stuck with it. That's also a $20,000 fix. But it was only a difference of 0.002.
So you are no longer trying with the county to record
No.
the survey that you thought you were getting?
No, I'm not going to pursue it because that would, all it would do is change it by 11 hundredths to 0.002 difference. It's literally like 60 square feet, and we're gonna abandon that.
Right.
So I have a question. So if you had been, or if you were able to get it, let's say after the right of way to 2.001 acres, you'd be greater than 2 acres, which would then, you wouldn't need a variance. So I guess the question is, do you have any plans in the future where that would be advantageous to say, okay, we're putting this building in, but then we want to put another building in, and we wouldn't need the variance by having that?
No,
Okay.
no, but I will mention this, a preemptive strike, we're probably gonna try to negotiate to buy more property, which would be consolidated. So in the future.
Okay.
From no pressure, we love this later.
But for right now, this is more of an immediate need then. It's more like you need to get this building, so you're going through the variance process.
Yeah.
If you were to get over the 2 limit,
No more buildings.
but you could then, once you get over 2.0, you wouldn't need the variances.
Yeah,
So-
if we ever went to that point, but we're getting too old. I'm not gonna lie. I actually have my years ago I would have built the building myself, and I'm actually getting to the point where it was easier just to tell my son, you're gonna build the building. One of his horses was at the house.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
So I have a couple questions. Heather, when the township discovered that he was in violation, what document did you rely upon to determine that his property was less than 2 acres?
He provided me the legal description.
And where, do we have that?
You should have a copy. I thought I gave that to you in your packet. Yes.
Okay, so we have that somewhere.
Yeah.
It
It has the
missed it
recorder
or something.
stamp.
All right, so that,
Do you not have that?
what does that document state in terms of?
This is the quitclaim deed that has the Jones survey attached to it.
Which survey? The survey of May 24th?
This survey, this is the plan.
Yeah, the survey of May, or no, that's when it was filed. What date was this survey conducted on?
Well, Scott Landgraf signed off on the survey on March 17th, 2023. And this was recorded, the legal description was approved for transfer by the Lake County engineer on May 5th, 2023.
And then how did the zoning department arrive at the acreage being less than 2.0?
If you look at the second page of the legal description, Mr. Snyder and I have been talking on several different occasions leading up to this point of him filing for the zoning permit, actually. So when he came in, he brought a lot of information. It was freshly recorded. We waited a couple days to make sure that it came through on the GIS so we could see that it was there. He went and found the recorded copies and pulled this up on the Lake County Recorder's Office. But if you look at course 6 on the second page of the legal description, do you have that in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it says, thence, north 1 degree, there's this legal description about the distance dimensions, but on the second line it says, to the principal place of beginning and containing 2.012 acres of land subject to all legal highways, and then in parentheses, 0.023 acres, and easements of record. So right there, and that is the area in the highway, which is the right of way. And if you look at the map also that
Right,
Schneider
I get it.
provided.
And then that's subtracted?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
And if
And
our
then-
definition of lot area per the zoning resolution in section 5 does not include any portion in the road right away, which is where we get how we calculate lot area.
is that stated in the zoning code
Yes.
that it does not include? All right, so you guys have already been over this.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was covered. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was, but, so, did you know this?
I didn't know, I knew 2 acres was the limit to build a second outbuilding. I did not know that.
And you thought you had 2 acres.
I thought I had over 2 acres. I
Over
told
2
him to give me
acres.
a little bit more.
Well, you do have over 2 acres.
You do have over 2 acres. What did you have a discussion with your surveyor?
Yes, he told me that he was not hired to discuss with the township those kind of things. And I said, but you're a licensed PE and a PS, a professional engineer. And I said, you would be more knowledgeable about it than me. I work with the electric system. I don't know.
I can't imagine that this would be the first time that a surveyor would be involved in a lot enlargement in order to meet requirements.
But he,
And I was told
Right?
yeah, but he might not have known that that doesn't count as the buildable lot for.
Actually,
his job.
I've checked all the local townships and all the local entities, and that's pretty common. He should have known it if he's building in the area. So that was my earlier. I said I was a little
I think
angry.
you're cutting this guy
That's what I
a
was
break here, is
angry
what I
about.
think.
I don't know.
I think you should contact his E&O and have him pay for everything that you gotta go through. Anyway. Okay, so you had a discussion with him. He took no responsibility whatsoever. Okay? And now you're in this predicament.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions.
You good? You guys good over here?
Good.
All right, you can be seated, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else here speaking for this appeal that'd like to come up? Is there anyone else speaking against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2023-130 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
We've done a lot more for people. We've done a whole lot less than this guy. A lot less.
A lot.
Than this guy. A lot less than this guy. And through E&O, it's an interesting discussion for another time. But through no fault of his own, I've been with him. When I say with him, because I drive down Girdle Road 18 times a day, and I watched him transform this barn. I watched him put up the shingles. I watched him stain it. I watched him put the lights on the fence. I wondered, why do horses need lights on a fence? Because it looks cool. That's why. And yeah, it looks cool. And my kid,
awesome.
And I see that and I'm watching this guy. He's transforming this in here, and I've always had questions about it. Now I know, but now he went ahead and did the right thing, and summarily got shellacked, in my humble opinion. But I don't think that this is his problem at all.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out a way that we don't have to rule on this.
I don't think there's any way around it.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
Well, I don't know. I don't know that.
I think this is a short-term solution. I think
Because-
long-term, if he wanted to take legal action or whatever, I don't know what is,
Yeah.
but what is it?
it's an insurance policy.
Okay, now I know. But I think this is a short-term fix, and that long-term, that's why I asked the question of by doing this, this gets you through here. But if you wanted to add another building, you would need another variance in the future. But
Right.
if you were at 2.00001 acres, not counting the right of way, you wouldn't have to come here for that variance. So,
That's not a short-term issue.
So that,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be the same thing next time,
Right.
Unless he buys more property.
unless he buys more
Buys
property.
property.
Why should he have to do that?
and the applicant stated that, I
Yeah,
don't
well,
have any plans.
maybe we're getting a little far afield
Yeah.
here, but
Yeah, I think,
anyway.
so,
I like the fact that you're gonna have the horses closer to you. That would be, I would love that, to have them closer to my house. Go pet them.
anything else? No. Yeah, I think he's got letters of support from the neighbors. The neighbors are all for this. He's trying to do the right thing. So, I gave a full effort to try to avoid having to come in for variance. This happened. Call it what you want, and now he's in, and it's on us. So.
Well, I think, and if we look at the Duncan factors, I think the biggest thing is like when you look at, how much would this cost? So if we deny this, that's an additional, 8,000 at least, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things of those Duncan factors that sticks out for me is that there's a lot of costs involved here if we deny it.
Right. And-
Trying to do the
And
right
it's not substantial, it's the furthest thing from substantial.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Point, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Point oh something.
Okay. Everyone's good then? Okay. Heather, can you please call a vote for variance appeal number 2023-130?
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Ms. Garkar,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes?
Mr. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Valente.
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the hard work you put into the property. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, next is the approval of minutes from our May 10th, 2023 meeting. I believe we have enough folks here that were in attendance for that meeting. Skip, Davey,
Yep.
and Ashley. So, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from May 2023?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Is there any discussion or changes to the minutes as written from anyone? Okay. A vote for the approval of minutes for May 2023. A yes vote approves the minutes, a no vote does not. All in favor for the approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain.
The minutes have been approved from May 2023. David mentioned Mindy last meeting. Thank you for everything you've done for the board. We appreciate it.
The last meeting is supposed to be your last meeting.
If Brandon was here,
We'll see you next month.
yeah. If Brandon was here, I'm sure he'd have a long speech prepared for you. But maybe we could get him to do that at the next meeting while you're not here, and we'll get it written. So
Your service is appreciated.
very
noted,
much so,
And you will be missed.
definitely. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals for June 2023 is now closed to the public.
What the heck, Mindy?
Wait.